Joining me now is South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. He is the chairman of the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committees. Mr. Chairman, great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Good to be with you. I hope you're doing well.
And to you. Where does the Clarity Act stand right now in the Senate? When would you expect this to come back up for a markup?
You know, Maria, you made a good point earlier. We've had a good, constructive conversation at the White House on this past Monday. It's great news. Both sides of the issue were at the White House together. That's actually really good news. I think we'll get this done. There's no question about that. But this impasse, they have to settle it between the banks, frankly, and the crypto industry. They have to settle an issue of rewards, interest, and yield. And the way you settle that, in my opinion, is to allow for crypto firms, especially on stablecoins, to be able to pay yield or rewards. And in addition to that, we have to make sure that those firms are not doing so in a way that suggests it's a savings account. We can thread that needle. It has to be done. America will be the crypto capital of the world. We need both sides to concede a little so that the average person in this country experiences more democratization. That's the goal, and we need to keep that in focus.
Well, we certainly need the Clarity Act and the right boundaries in place in order to be the #1 crypto player in the world.
Exactly.
The banks are pushing back and saying, look, if the crypto companies are able to pay rewards, that's going to be a very good tool to get people to move money out of banks' deposit accounts and onto crypto platforms. But what they're not taking with them are the rules and the regulations that the banks have to adhere to, like deposit insurance and all of the other regulations that the banks follow. What's your take on that? If crypto companies are able to pay such rewards, will they be taking on stiffer regulations?
Well, Maria, let me take a deep dive, and I'm going to try not to get too wonky on this issue. So let me be clear. Number one, we're not talking apples and apples. Number two, FDIC insurance is something that attracts deposits to our banks, and it should, because it's a powerful tool for good. Number three, stable coins are backed 1-to-1. For every dollar in stable coins, there's $1 in reserves. In your banking system, for every, it's a fractional system. So when you have $1 in your savings, you do not have $1 in reserves. So as we're talking apples and oranges, but here's the point. Number one, allowing for the crypto firms to pay rewards is a good thing. Number two, they cannot advertise as if they were a bank. That is important for consumer protection. And number three, we want to make sure that paying rewards to a crypto balance on your stable coins is tied to something more than just a balance. So we're going to make sure that it doesn't walk and talk and act like a duck, because it's not a duck. So we're going to make sure that the things are different and that the consumer is not misinformed on their decision. Bottom line is simply this: there will not be a deposit flight. We're going to sit down with consumer banks hopefully next week again and have this conversation. The good news is both sides remain at the table. I met yesterday with 2 Democrats who want to get this done. We're going to overcome those hurdles and make sure that America is the crypto capital of the world.
Well, I mean, you make a great point when you say, look, there won't be a deposit flight, and that's the worry, right? I mean, but I'm wondering how
Yes.
much focus this, you know, we're talking about the potential for a deposit flight, money moving out of the banks and going into crypto platforms. Has the discussion moved away from, you know, innovation in America, innovation in digital assets, and toward protecting bank margins?
Well, this is the key question: is how do we protect the greatest system economically on the planet and introduce more competition into that system? You can do both. And frankly, the concern of deposit flight, if I were in the system and not in Senate, I would say this simply: I'd be more concerned for a money market account that pays 3% than I would for a savings account that pays under 1% so often. And so consistently speaking, with the concern is what we think about the system more than what we're experiencing from the system. And what I mean by that is that the crypto firms are coming in, and it's going to add more competition, which will be good for the American consumer.
Yeah.
We have so many issues that will be resolved by seeing prices come down because competition comes in. banks will be in a good position, but so will the American consumers and crypto firms.
Yeah.
You can do all three at the same time.
I want to move on to Kevin Warsh, but my final question on this is about the community
Yes.
banks, because that's another issue that the banks will say, oh, well, if you're talking about money going into stable coins in the crypto platforms, what about those small banks that are relying on the community, the small agricultural companies, farmers? What about those people who are relying on community banks? Are they going to be shut out in this? And you say what?
Well, no. Bottom line is a simple one. Let me say to my community banks, my friends, South Carolina is a very small state with tons of community banks. We are going to make sure that whatever passes, we are taking care of our community bankers. That's the place you go to get your you become a first-time home buyer. It's the place you go to open your small business. The GSIBs they're going to be protected because of the interconnectivity of their relationships with their clients.
Right.
We need to make sure that consumers who go into a community bank, that they're taken care of as well. And that's the goal of the end of the process.
Let me switch gears, Senator, and ask you about Kevin Warsh.
Yes.
As you know, North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis is pushing back. He says, look, a presidential pardon is not enough for Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell. That's not going to end his blockade of Fed nominees. The outgoing senator is pushing back, saying he is only going to change his position and move forward this confirmation once the Justice Department completes its investigation into the Powell Senate testimony. Mr. Chairman, what are the odds that Kevin Warsh gets confirmed?
100%. I had a great conversation with Tom Tillis this weekend, and I'll say without any question that Tom Tillis has been a productive member of the Banking Committee, and I'm thankful that he continues to have real open dialogue on some of the issues he's concerned about. And as it relates to that DOJ investigation, I'll tell you what I would tell a prosecutor if they came into my office. I was the one asking the questions. Jay Powell was responding to me. Obviously, he and I have very, very strong disagreements on many issues, number one. Number two, I believe that it's time for a new federal chair, and thank God Almighty we're getting ready to get one. Number three, I found him to be inept at doing his job, but ineptness or being incompetent is not a criminal act. I believe what he did was made a gross error in judgment. He was not prepared for that hearing. I do not believe that he committed a crime during the hearing. I believe that we are going to resolve that issue. We're going to move forward, and Tom Tillis will be voting for Kevin Warsh as the next chairman of the Federal Reserve.
So
That's my prediction.
So you think at the end of the day, Tom Tillis will vote to confirm Kevin Warsh?
I'm sure Tom Tillis will want to be on your show to say it himself, but my conversations with him, very productive.
Okay.
I believe we can solve the Jay Powell issue and move forward with a strong vote from all Republicans on the committee. Hopefully a couple of Democrats.
Before you go,
remember,
Senator.
Maria, remember, the last time Kevin Warsh was before the Senate, he got a voice vote, 100%.
Good point. Real quick on solving the funding issue. Obviously, the president signed the $1.25 trillion funding bill to end that partial government shutdown. But you've got 5 bills which fund government until September, and you've got funding for Department of Homeland Security only for the next 2 weeks. Where does this go?
Yeah. Well, number one, thank God we got the 5 done. But listen, the Democrats are playing Russian roulette with our national security by not funding DHS. We're talking about making our homeland more vulnerable, and ICE isn't even a part of it. ICE is funded through 2029. Democrats, get the job done.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to my mom. God bless you.
Happy birthday, Mama Scott. Look, real quick, what are the odds that come September 30th, you got another government shutdown right before the midterm elections? I mean, is that the point? Fund government until September 30th so that then you could have lots of chaos right before the midterms?
Well, I think we're going to have chaos if we don't fund the government on October 1st. So the good news is we're going to do our jobs as Republicans.
All right. Senator, it's always a pleasure. We so appreciate your work. Thank you so much.